And I've seen both of those with some friends at midnight showings in the theater, and it's unlike anything else. They put you in a trance. They're incredible. And he also has an episode on Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities on Netflix. His episode is called The Viewing,
Nice.
and it's an incredible hour. But the movie Mandy was scored by my all-time favorite film composer, and fortunately he passed away in 2018. But Johan Johansson.
Wow, nice.
Um, yep. So I would say those two are always big inspirations. And then also Denis Villeneuve, the director. He's done like Dune and Blade Runner 2049 and Prisoners, Sicario.
Oh my
Um,
God. One of my favorite movies.
which one?
Prisoners,
Oh,
Sicario. Oh my God. Oh, those. Oh
it's
my God.
actually it was
Really,
actually
your favorite?
Prisoners that
Oh,
yeah, it's one of my favorites, and it's what made me discover Johan Johansson.
oh, nice. I
Yeah.
actually like that movie because of cinematography. Roger Deakins is my favorite
Oh,
cinematographer. Like how, it's like how, when I sit there and I like study his work and I'm like, wow, he's just a dream. He's incredible.
the way that film is shot is a huge part of its mood for sure. What they do with the light in that, I mean, it's a very dark movie, but
Yeah.
the whole thing is just filled with dread from start to finish.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. I love that. I wonder, I like to talk to people in their journey and, you know, the ups and the downs and has there been any moments in your life where you thought, I don't think I want to do this anymore. And I'm going to try the whole, like, what everybody says, the 9 to 5, the regular, and there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing's wrong with that at all. But you know what I mean? Like, give up on your dream, and then you have people who say, "Well, that's silly to just do this." Those outsiders, the outside voice, the naysayers. How do you look past that and keep going? Like, what is your, how do you keep going?
Yeah, yeah. No, I've never, knock on wood, but I've never lost that drive.
Love that.
But there's certainly been tons of moments of doubt, especially with social media, where you're seeing other people finding success in what you want. You know,
Mhm.
um, and but I started to use social media kind of as practice, where if I see someone post about something that what I wanted to go to a premiere like that or whatever, um, I practice being happy for them,
Mhm.
because that they're in the same position as you are, struggling and trying to get out there, and I also remind myself that everything happens for everybody at totally different paces. It's not actually a race, you know, um, but you can also learn from others too. You see how they're posting maybe, and you're like, oh, maybe if I do something similar, I will also
Mhm.
start to build some, have enough content to put out there and things like that.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, so, I mean, the whole pandemic, I wasn't really working much. And then when I got my first composer assistant job, that took up all of my time. So I still wasn't like meeting young filmmakers and scoring. And it was mostly just like a tech assistant job, and I was kind of like not feeling fulfilled. And, but that's another thing is that I just learned to trust that things are coming, because you always, there's that famous mantra, make things happen. But I think that can be a little dangerous because if you can burn yourself out, like I'm making things happen, but nothing, like
Yeah,
why is nothing happening? But you also have to let things happen, you
right.
know? Most of my opportunities, like this year, 2023 has been my busiest year so far.
Love that. I love
And
it.
a lot of it has been from things I built up last year. You know, I applied for a paid internship with a really great film composer, Joseph Trapanese, like March 2022.
Nice.
And then they said the position was filled, and I was like, okay, no big deal. I forgot about it. And then, like mid-February this year, I got an email, hey, are you still interested? And I was like, oh, absolutely. And
Right.
then for 2.5 months, that was my life, was being at that studio. And I had a great time there. And now I've built more contacts and there's more people reaching out for work. And you know, the whole time I was there, I was getting other short films. I was working on your film, Miosha, you know. Um, so what?
No, I was thinking Yosha.
Oh, Miosha, yes. Woo!
Coming soon, coming soon.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Amazing,
Um,
by the way. Thank you so much. I mean, wow, incredible, incredible. We
ah,
loved
th-
it. We were like, oh my God, what the heck? Insane.
thank you.
So
It
good.
was it was a lot of fun to write for.
Thanks.
But yeah, March and April, I was waking up at 6 a.m., composing, going to the internship, coming home, composing, repeat, you know.
Yes.
The weekends were my only chance to have a full day to compose, you know. Um, so to get back to your initial question, though, the 9 to 5, um, working at this composer studio kind of was a 9 to 5, and at least it was still in my industry.
Yeah.
Um, but I think the hardest part is, of course, we all have rent to pay and bills to pay. So
Hmm.
you kind of do need that 9 to 5, especially if you're just building your career.
Hmm.
But it's really hard. The 9 to 5 takes up the biggest chunk of your day,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
you know? And like I said, I was getting up at 5 a.m. sometimes, 6 a.m. to compose, but it's a very stressful composing environment because I'm watching the clock and then it's almost 10. Oh, you know,
Yeah.
now I have to stop and go to work. And then all day I'm at work. I just want to be home composing, you know. Um, so it's much nicer, of course, when I have the entire day. I'm just home. I can take a little break if I want, or you know, work all day, work all night, you know. Um, so that's always the biggest stressor for me with the 9 to 5, you know, because like I said, my parents are very supportive, but
That's good.
you know, at the start they were like, you know, Dan, you need some income. Maybe you should like just try to work at like a coffee shop or something or da da da,
Hmm.
you know. And
Hmm.
I know tons of people who do that and
Oh,
they
yeah.
do very well, of course, you know.
Hmm.
But I do find it very hard to kind of keep that healthy creative process while also having that 9 to 5, you know.
Oh.
Um,
Hmm. Yeah, oh yeah, it's like, I think I was reading something about like Leonardo DiCaprio. He was bussing tables while he was doing, his thing. And I was like, that's incredible. Like the fact that it for me, it's not that you can't have that. If I was like the fact of how do you balance the two and still have enough energy to put into, your craft, right? What you love to do. And then you're probably burned out from work. But so it's like, oh my God. But I think if you want something enough, you're gonna do whatever it takes to get in, for sure. So
Absolutely. Yeah. No, and yeah, exactly. Whatever it takes. You know, that's why I was up at 5 a.m. You know, I set an alarm on my phone and I put my phone away from my bed, so I had to get up to turn it off.
right, right,
You know,
right.
force myself up. You know, and then you're up
Absolutely.
and you're like, you know, and then you know, I make some coffee and then I'm off to work. You know.
Exactly. Oh yeah, you're a coffee drinker. Yes, yes.
Oh yeah. Well, it's actually a recent thing for me. I was drinking decaf for a very long time, and then actually, funny enough, while I was interning at this composer studio I mentioned, he had a really beautiful Breville espresso machine, and I was learning how to use it while I was there. And you know, the whole like locking the portafilter into the thing, grinding the beans, and
Yeah,
steaming the milk and everything. I was like, I really like this. You know, the ritual of it all.
yeah,
So I bought myself a Breville, but the cheaper, smaller one, of course. And yeah, I love experimenting now, buying different beans and getting the grind size correct and everything. And you know, it's just another thing for me to um, obsess over, I guess, or to
yeah.
you know perfect.
Exactly, exactly. I love it. Oh man, so good. I love to ask, for people that are listening, I know there's a lot of people that want like need advice or want some type of direction. Um, so what advice would you give to somebody that wants to get into composing or trying to do what you're doing? What does that look like?
Yeah, you know, there's I think the first advice is there's no one approach, there's no correct approach. You know, I do find with a lot of my friends from Berkeley or other film composers you meet, you know, there can be a sense of competition, of course, and um, you know, a little pettiness can show itself because everyone tries different paths. You know, maybe one person works at a really big film score studio, or another person doesn't work at a studio at all and is purely trying to do freelance, or there's tons of different paths, and um, the first thing is to just trust your path, you
Mhm,
know.
mhm.
But then if you're getting into it like super fresh, there's the college approach, or you don't have to go to college though either, especially with the internet. There's tons of YouTube tutorials on composing, what kind of software to buy, how to use that software. So, definitely build yourself a stable groundwork as far as learn the tech side of things as well. But then, fortunately or unfortunately, definitely come to LA, because, when I was starting to get contact, when I was still in Boston, anyone who I was put in touch with, they were like, "Hey, cool, nice to meet you. When you're in LA, let me know." So like they didn't even want to talk about it until I was out here.
Yeah, yeah.
But that is the beautiful thing with the city, and of course I have my frustrations with the city, but I never came here to love the city. I just came here to work, and it's a city where you do meet people. I mean, I remember um, my girlfriend's car. We had a garage at our old place, and the battery in her car died. So I called AAA,
Mhm.
and the AAA guys come, and he's very friendly, very talkative. He asked me what I do. I said, "Oh, film composer." And he's like, "Oh, I used to work at Warner Brothers," you know. And I was like, wow, only in LA would you run into a contact like that, when you're getting your car fixed,
That's
There's
true.
just tons of little things like that, and um, nothing came from that connection, but it still reminded me that like that's why I'm here,
Mhm.
Um, so I guess to like wrap up the advice, um, also figure out for yourself how you operate. Like for example, I'm definitely an introvert, and I remember when I first got here, again through various contacts, like from teachers and stuff, and I was invited to this. Some composer was having like a party at a bar to celebrate some anniversary of their film score studio, their company. So I went, and it was supposed to be this big networking thing, and I was going to meet all these people, and I hated my life. I didn't know anybody, and they were
Aw.
all older, and I was there for maybe 30 minutes, and I left. That was like 4 years ago or so. And that was a moment of, for sure, discouragement, where I was like, oh, I'm never going to make it out here, because you have to network. You
Mm.
know,
Mhm.
um, but I kind of figured out for myself that I'm really, really good at one-on-one.
Right.
So again, through various, I would go to, maybe I did meet someone in the film industry and they have a birthday party, and I would go. And then while I'm at that party, I talk to one person at a time, or you meet someone and you get coffee with them, and then you get to know them very organically. And that's how I started to build my network, you know. So there's no right or wrong way. You just have to figure out who your people are and how you operate, and you'll land somewhere for sure.
I love that. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on, and what great advice. I mean, really interesting story. And I love that you're just someone who just gonna keep going no matter what. I love that. And I loved hearing your story. So thank you for sharing that with us. I'm sure this was going to help someone out there who wants to definitely give this um, crazy industry that we're in a go. Where where can people find you on social media so they can follow you and contact you for work?
Of course, yeah. So I'm very active on my Instagram, um, which I'm blanking on the handle at the moment, but I have my website as well, which has a link to the Instagram. My website is just danrhowardmusic.com. And you can see my recent stuff on there, and like I said, links to the various social medias.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on. It was a pleasure talking to you.
You too. Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. And thank you all for listening. And always remember to live, love, laugh. We'll see you guys next time.